Hey there guys, welcome to another episode of THV Tutorials. This video is on TQM. We are going to continue with the second week. The second week is about what? Personal leadership as a basis for quality of leadership and total quality. From the first week, we learned that TQM is a continuous improvement strategy which is focused on three things. What are these three things? One, customer satisfaction. Two, process improvement. And three, employee involvement. Right now, when TQM is focusing on all these things, it is aimed at something, and the ultimate goal is to improve quality. And quality is being improved in order to what? Meet and exceed the expectations of customers. Right? Why does a business need to exceed or meet their customers' requirements or their expectations? Well, that is because the organization lives for the customers, right? Without the customers, the organization will have no use and they will have no money. No one, right? Nothing would mean anything. So it is the job of an organization to prioritize its customers, treat them specially, and always make sure that they are meeting the needs of these customers. This is in order to ensure that the customers become loyal to them, right? So in this week, we are going to talk about how leadership is important, right, in TQM, because TQM is something that's very difficult to do. If you look at the definition, it says what? TQM is a continuous improvement strategy, right? So it's something that's continuous. It's not easy to do. It's very difficult. So the organization has to be really committed, right? Top management has to be committed to the cause of TQM. And we are saying that for their leadership to be that committed, first of all, the quality of leadership must be what? High. And also saying that since that's the matter, personal leadership also plays a role, and it is the basis for what? The quality of leadership and what? Total quality. So basically speaking, the quality of the organization's services or products depends largely, it depends on what? Leadership. More specifically, personal leadership. So this whole episode is basically about how leadership is important in TQM and in the organization. Good. So these are the objectives. Talk about leadership in TQM, which we have already begun. The leadership and the Malcolm Modric National Quality Award. Look at the characteristics of excellent leadership. Leadership models in quality management. The communication leadership in quality management, and also organizational culture and leadership, and how to transition to a quality culture. And then the most important thing for the entire course, look at QMS, quality management system. Right, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notification. See you after the intro and we'll get down to business. Alright guys, welcome back from our intro. Let's get down to business. So from our second point in our outline, we know that. So we're looking at the leadership in the Malcolm Modric National Quality Award. What is the Malcolm Modric National Quality Award? Now, this is the highest level of national recognition that a US organization can gain. So let's break that down further. First of all, it is a US-based award scheme, right? And it is awarded for it is awarded to organizations for what? Quality. What is quality? Quality is the ability of a company to meet and exceed customer expectations, right? So when this award is given to a company, you know that they are doing very well and they are satisfying their customers always, continuously. Good. So let's look at the criteria for the award, right? What must an organization do in order to get this award? So this is the award criteria for the Malcolm Modric National Quality Award. Leadership, strategy, customers, measurement, analysis, and knowledge management, workforce, operations, and what? Results. Now this is telling us that you have to score this point, right? This point to get 1,000 points before this award can be given to your organization. Good. Where am I going with this? Stay tuned. You realize that each of these, criteria have their point. Results is the highest, which is reasonable. Right? At the end of the day, whatever it is that you are doing, you must have the results to show working. 450, 450. But realize that everything else is just what 85, 90. But leadership alone is given as what 120 points. So this is also laying more emphasis on the fact that leadership is important if an organization wants to, have or implement total quality in their day-to-day routines, activities. So let's take a look further at the leadership criteria, right? So before this award is given to the company, when they are being assessed based on leadership, they evaluate how the leadership in the company is setting the direction for the company. In what direction are they being directed in? Setting. What values have they established in the company? Are they able to balance the stakeholder needs? Because the stakeholder needs do vary, right? Do they encourage innovation, right? How are they doing that? What effect does that have on a company? Developing workforce capabilities, serving as ethical role models, right? So this is another reason, right, or another testament to the fact that what personal leadership is the basis for the quality of leadership in the organization and total quality management. So, long story short, leadership is important. Up next, we'll talk about what the characteristics of excellent leadership. See you after the break. All right, guys, welcome back from that lovely break. Right. So now let's talk about the characteristics of excellent leadership. Now, bear in mind that anything that I'm discussing here is directly correlated or linked to what quality in the organization. Excellent, right? So when we talk about excellent leadership, first we have what visibility and what committed. That is to say that the leadership in the organization are always around. They involve themselves in whatever is going on in the organization, which is aimed at what promoting quality, right? They are committed to the cause of quality. So missionary zeal means that what they have that passion and that zeal for what for quality. Whether it is inside the organization or outside of the organization, they are always trying to make sure that what quality is the top goal, that's the topmost priority at all times. And pursue targets, right? That's just to say that they set incredibly high targets, right? Always trying to push their boundaries. And they do that for themselves, for the organization, and for their employees too. Strong drivers of change, right? As we know, leadership changes the status quo, whereas management what maintains it. So it is no news that what excellent leadership is also characterized by what being what strong drivers of change. They are always trying to what bring about the change that is needed in the organization to take the organization to the next level. Effective communication, right? Making sure that what is being said is what is being heard. What is being said is actually what is meant, right? Everybody knows the role that they are playing in the quality goal, right? So the communication is very key. If you realize, we have an entire item on that communication and leadership in quality management. We'll get down to that real soon. And here you have organizational structure for quality, right? They structured the organization in a way that what is conducive for their quality efforts. They structured the organization in a way that what makes it conducive or favorable to practice TQM. So customer contact, that is to say that the senior management and the CEOs always make themselves accessible to their customers, right? So now let's look at the one, which is what it says leadership for total quality management, right? So here is what leadership in total quality management. This is leadership for total quality management. This is just to say that these four things are the core role or the basic things that the leadership must take care of in the organization, right? They are the duties. So the first is what? attitude and involvement of top management. So the first thing leadership has to do is what? Have the attitude for quality. That attitude that is what about quality, the quality attitude. Involve the what? Top management. Good. Now I have communication, right? Remember that the third goal or the third focus of TQM, one of them is what? Employee involvement, right? That is to say that our TQM involves the entire organization, right? So if the entire organization is involved, communication is key, as we stated earlier, right? So communication has to be effective. So the leadership is responsible for ensuring that communication is effective at the end of the workday. And culture, right? The culture is the way an organization does its things, right? So the culture has to be of quality. They must have a quality culture present in the organization in order for the organization to what? Be successful at implementing their TQM strategy. Then quality management system, right? Now that a system is a group of parts, each of them perform different functions in order to achieve the same goal, right? So a system has to be put in place, right? If you don't have a system and you try TQM, you might do it for the first 3 weeks, but eventually you veer off course and you do something else, right? So you must have a system that is guiding you at all times, making sure that our goals are met and that we are on the right track at all points in time, right? So now let's move on to talk about leadership models in quality management. All right, guys, welcome back from the break once again. So let's talk about the leadership models for quality management. Good. So the first one we have is the Westinghouse quality model. Now, for this one, is built on management leadership, right? So as you can see from the bottom, it's based on management leadership, human resource excellence, and what process involvement. It encourages a holistic approach to quality leadership, right? So holistic means what? As a whole, right? So it's saying that with the Westinghouse total quality model, the what leadership that's about basically they start with the management version of leadership, right? That's where you have the culture, the planning, communication, accountability, right? Then there's a product or process leadership, and that is what products or services. So now they are so the first thing we have is what management leadership. Then they move on to what the process leadership before eventually they work on what the human resource excellence and then the customer orientation. And then at the top of the pyramid, on top of the hierarchy, you have what total quality requirements, right? So another way to put this is that you break total quality requirements down into these things, right? But the first thing that we need, the foundation is the management leadership, which then goes on from there. You have to master or take off what leading the product or the process, right? The process eventually converts the inputs to outputs, right? Or the raw materials to the product. Then the human resource excellence, where you have participation, training, and what motivation. Then customer orientation, thinking about the customer, right? Because TQM is trying to what meet and exceed the customer's expectations. Do it right the first time and always, right? Now the next model we'll have a look at is the framework for IBM's, the IBM's market-driven quality model, right? So here we have what it says driver, system, measure of progress, and then goal. So at this point, remember also leadership is the beginning, right? Everything rises and falls on leadership, right? It's very important, right? So driver, that's what drives change or like what is spearheading the process, right? What is driving the process, right? Who's the driver? Leadership, of course, where you have what the mission, the involvement, you have policy, you have management, right? Now you have here system. What do you mean by system, right? Now that we have our vision, our involvement, and our policy, what are we using to move forward? There we have what information or analysis, planning, human resources, then quality assurance. From there, they are what? Measure of progress. Now we have our drivers. They are moving. This is how we are moving, right? We use our information, our planning, and our human resources and quality assurance to move forward. But now, how do we measure our progress? How far have we come? Right. So we measure that by what? Our quality results. Are the expected results matching the actual results, that kind of stuff. So what improved quality, lower cost, right? So another way to determine that when you look at the results, it's our quality improving and our cost reducing, right? So let us have our break and we'll continue with our video from there. Excellent. So let's get on with the communication and leadership in quality management, right? So now we're looking at a model for communication by Larry Appley, right? So Larry Appley's productivity improvement model, right? It's a communication-driven approach to quality and productivity enhancement. Now, a quick recap, right? Quality is meeting and exceeding the expectations of our customers. Good. And we know that effective communication is important, right? Effective communication is when the message sent is the exact message that has been received, right? As I said earlier, saying what you mean, meaning what you say, right? And making sure that what you said is what was heard, right? Excellent. So this man proposed a productivity model or a productivity improvement model of communication, right? It's communication driven. And he believed that when this model is utilized, quality and productivity would be enhanced, right? So the key elements in Larry Appley's productivity improvement model are what? Top-down and bottom-up approach, performance monitoring and feedback, accountability and what? Responsibility. So let's look at the diagram. The diagram will help us appreciate the key elements properly. Right? So we have the recipient or the boss, is the message, is the sender or employee, right? So the sender or the employee draft the message. The message also goes out to the recipient or boss. Do not be fooled by the arrow, because communication is back and forth, right? So you can also say that this would be happening, right? So in the same way too, the boss is also a sender. And what exactly am I saying? You understand it more, because when we talk about the message, right? What is the message? What message is being sent from top to the down, or from what? The down to the top, right? So from the the boss to the employee, from the employee to the boss. What kind of message are they sending? So the message will be of this nature, or the message should answer these questions. What is to be done? How well it should be done? How well it is being done? And how can it be done better? Right? So we realize that all these questions are, you know, the boss can ask some of these questions. Some of these questions, the employee can also ask this question, right? What is to be done? The employee, that could be the message of the employee to the boss. Boss, what is to be done? Boss receives the messages out. You have to do this, that, right? So the boss can come and say what? You will answer it, right? Over there, what? Answered by. So the boss, okay, this is our target. So the boss can tell the employee what to do and the target, the aim. Of course, you would have to monitor the performance and give feedback, right? So how well should how well should it be done, right? That is the boss asks. So that these questions, if you think about it, anyone on earth can ask this question, right? What is to be done, boss? What, what is to be done, right? The boss to ask, what are you doing about it? I get it. So in a way, This entire model is evolved around it is centered around what? Making sure that quality and productivity is enhanced. If you look at the nature of the questions, right? Good. What are the benefits of this model? One, it enhances clarity. It drives continuous improvement. It improves accountability and it boosts employee engagement, right? So that all these three key elements are covered inside this model. I get it. So this is the message. The message will be answered either by the boss or by the employee. Communication goes from the down to the top, also from the top to the down. Right, so there you have it. That's the Larry Apley's productivity improvement model. Benefits. It enhances clarity, it drives continuous improvement, it improves accountability, and what? It boosts employee engagement. Right? So let's move on to the next items on our outline. Right, guys, so at this point, we're going to take a look at our sixth point, which is what? Organizational culture and leadership. Right, so when you say organizational culture, what exactly is organizational culture? So organizational culture is what? It's a pattern of beliefs and values that provides the members of an organization's rules of behavior or accepted norms for conducting operations. So basically speaking, culture is a pattern, right? It's a pattern of beliefs and values, which dictates or shows the members of an organization how they behave, how they go about their day-to-day activities or operations. Good. Why is culture important? Now, the truth or the fact of the matter is that successful organizations, all of them have a core culture, right? And it is believed that the culture is so powerful, right? Culture is what you do every day. It's your way of life, basically, your way of doing things. So the culture plays a huge role in the success of the organization. Good. Right? It is important for an organization to have a sound basis of core values into which management and other employees will be drawn. Right? Now, without central core, the energy of the members of the organization will dissipate as they develop plans, make decisions, communicate, and carry on operations without fundamental criteria of relevance to guide them, right? Is so basically the culture is what gives them a belief system, right? It's what drives them. Right? That's where their passion for whatever they are doing comes from, right? So without that culture, it's gonna be impossible. Now, why are we talking about culture and leadership, right? Remember, I said that successful organizations have a core culture. For an organization to be successful, it achieves its goals. Goals cannot be achieved without leadership, right? So that's the link right there. Now, we are saying that it is important also that the culture of the organization be of a quality standpoint, right? So quality must be the culture of the organization. Right? It must be embedded into it. So now we are moving to this seventh item, which is what? Transitioning to a quality culture. How do you transition to a quality culture? So here you have, right, over here are examples, right? So these are some organizations, successful organizations, which are quite famous, and their beliefs or their culture. Ford says what? Quality is job one. So you get the mentality from that. Delta, a family feeling, right? They have that perspective, right? We are a family. 3M, that's what? Product innovation. They innovate, always looking for new ways to do things, right? Wages, so Lincoln Electric says what? Wages proportionate to productivity. Your work will determine your pay. You have McDonald's and so on. So, right, all these organizations are successful, right? Because they held true to these beliefs that they had, and they gave it their all. But work on how do we integrate them, right? So here are some quality gurus, right? Some experts in the field of quality, and they say that. So Deming says for for an organization to transform their their culture into one of quality, that so even he as always saying that they should change the whole American management style so that obviously organizations in America would what take quality more seriously or perform better. Thing one suggests a pervasive improvement throughout the organization. Right, pervasive means that every department, everyone, everywhere in the organization should always be improving, improving, and that's how they can do it. And they can meet and exceed expectations of their customer. Right now, Crosby here is saying that quality is the result of a carefully constructed culture. Right, it has to be the basic fabric of an organization. Right? So he is saying that the culture of the organization itself must be quality, which I find myself to agree with. Right, I think he nailed it best. Right, if your culture itself is quality, then you know that's a that's an excellent place to begin. Right, so embedding a culture of quality. So see, so this commitment is demonstrated by behaviors and activities that are exhibited throughout the company. Categories of behaviors include. These are some behaviors that will help embed quality into the fabric of the organization. So let's come up as I said. So this in that, of course, if quality is going to be embedded, if the organization is going to transition to a quality culture, what they must do, obviously, it starts from the top management, right? The top management is where the whole thing will start from. So top management must display these three behaviors. That's signaling, right? They must take actions that support the vision of quality, right? So their actions must fall in line with quality, right? Their mission statement, their vision, their creed, whatever belief that the organization have that is directed towards satisfying their customer. Their actions must support that. They must not contradict that. Focus. Every employee must know the vision, his or her part in it, and what has to be done to achieve it. What plays the role here? Communication, right? So first of all, before they can focus, they must know what they have to do. So communication is important, right? But they must also focus, and that's not just top management. Everybody, employee policies, right? So this may be the clearest expression of culture, at least from the viewpoint of the employee. A culture of quality can be easily seen as a reward and promotion system, status symbols, and other human resource action, right? So your policies about your employee policies should promote culture as well, right? You should always reward people who are putting in the effort to take the organization to their next level, right? So this is a transition to quality culture. This is the Xerox um, perspective, right? So this is a fishbone diagram. Is root cause and an effect. So the effect they're looking for here is what? A cultural change. And this is Xerox um, pro- proposition. Right? So using out the root cause. So first, we need a transition team. Training is important. Senior management must behave properly, right? They must signal. They must, they must be focused, and what the employee policies must be aligned with quality as well. Also, tools and processes, communication, then reward and recognition. I see a link between the verticals at each point. See, transition team, right? I think that will facilitate the change to quality culture, right? So, so the transition team must come and equip their employees with what? Tools and processes.
Now, training is where they'll communicate how they'll use the tools and processes. And the senior management behavior is what? They are rewarding and recognizing employees who are applying what they learned in the training. And in the end, at the end, what when all these things are done correctly, the organization will have a cultural change. Good. So now our last point is QMS. Now this is a very important aspect of um, this week's slide because essentially what we're about to do from here on out, week three going, is breaking down what a QMS is, right? What a quality management system is, and what will be needed in order to what build one, use one, maintain one, so on and so forth, right? So it says that no matter how comprehensive or lofty a quality strategy may be, it is not complete until it is put into action. It is only rhetoric until it has been implemented. Right? It's not enough, first of all, to just have it to create the system and go and sleep. Right? When you create the system, you must implement the system. Right? Now, quality management systems are vehicles for change and should be designed to integrate all areas, not only the quality assurance department. Right? So when I said TQM itself is what? Holistic. One of the focus of the strategy is what? Employee involvement. So every aspect of the organization must be integrated into the quality system, right? Everybody must be focused on how they can improve their role, how they can perform their function better in the organization, how they can bring more quality on board, right? Whether they are directly or indirectly involved with the product, it's not an issue. They must be involved, right? And they must expand through the organization to include white collar activity. So that's basically what I just said, right? That's what I've been saying all this time, right? Excellent. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.